So, here we go.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the Michel Matters Podcast. I'm Jacques Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michel. This is a podcast where we talk about all of life's matters.
Everything you could think of to like save your marriage, I probably did.
One day I said I have to do my best to realize what I wanted, and I did it.
And how people handle it.
And he had a whole campfire inside the property. Like
What?
And he was like in there living his best life.
No, because the ones that have something to offer are taken. They're taken. They're taken. Let's be real.
When I made that commitment to dedicate my life to Jesus Christ, even though I didn't stay faithful to Him, He remained faithful to me.
Tune in and join the conversation.
Hello? Is this thing on? Yeah. Hey guys.
Hi.
We shouldn't have left you
But we did.
without a dope pod to step to.
It is what it is.
We're back though.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Life.
It's been a minute. 2 months.
No, I literally was like 2 months went by.
Yeah.
Like I wrote the date down, which I do before a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, we need to do better.
All right. But in our defense, and it's gonna be a lot of,
I don't
in our
got
defense.
no defense, so this is all you.
We went on a world tour in September.
We did.
If you really think about it.
You're right.
Two
And October.
weddings. We went to 2 out of town weddings, not just 2 weddings, 2 out of town weddings. 1 birthday celebration out of town.
Out of state.
Yeah. So, we was on the move a little bit. And my birthday was in there somewhere. My birthday, I don't feel like got to, exactly. I enjoyed my birthday. Let me not do that. But it was sandwiched in between a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I didn't plan what I actually wanted to plan for your birthday.
Yeah.
Because of everything else that was happening.
Exactly. So I was like, it's not just y'all. It's just life just getting crazy. But we are back.
I'm not gonna promise no dates.
Nah.
Yeah, it's just
it's no amount of episode promises. Y'all just gonna get this podcast how you get it.
Gotta wait to see when the hot sign is on, and then
Yeah, we'll let you know when the
donuts.
podcasts are coming out. But we here now.
Yeah,
That's been my phrase of the year. We're here now.
we're here now.
Yeah, and we're gonna deal with it how we deal with it.
Yeah. And actually, this break also made me, think about the fact that we never said why we took such a long break before.
Yeah, the first time.
Yeah,
between episode 100 and 101.
Exactly. It was intentional, but it wasn't at the same time. Like taking a break was intentional, but then we didn't know it was going to be that long just because life happened, right? So my grandmother actually passed away, and that was in December of 2021.
Yeah.
Because we're 2022. Yeah. Okay. So that was 2021. And then I got COVID, while, right before the funeral, like the day before the funeral, something crazy. And then it was just like, how do you grieve properly? Even just people wanting to support you during those times, but then it's COVID and I literally have it. So you want to hug me, but it's
I can't. It was an interesting time.
But no,
it was an interesting time. A funeral during COVID was wow, and we did 2. We did one for your grandma, one for my grandma.
Yeah,
and
the year before,
yeah. But the interactions are just different because of the times.
Yeah.
So you grieve, but it's not maybe the traditional way where people just want to love on you. It was more like a lot of self-reflection, a lot of real thought, because a lot of people feel comfort in touch or hug or whatever.
Yeah.
So we had to pivot, and
then even in the house, it was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to give him COVID.
Oh.
But then eventually you were just like, I can't let you grieve alone.
Yeah. I mean, we were safe with it. Everything we did was kind of safe. Like, we rode in the car. You was in the back seat.
Yeah.
I was in the front. I mean, it was crazy times. Yeah. It was crazy times. But, you know, we made it through that. And it was just a laundry list. Like, I'm trying to think what else happened during that time. I know I got a new job at some point. Yes.
I was still mainly focused on the business for work.
Yeah.
And freelancing and producing a collection, which thankfully will be out like this month.
Okay.
But that whole thing.
You making a promise? Are you making a promise on that?
I didn't say a date.
Okay.
Just know the album is dropping. But, you know, producing 2 collections and then working with a factory that was just terrible, that I will never work with again.
It was a learning experience.
It was. It was. I mean, some things were good about it, and then others, whatever.
Yeah, I think that could be a whole nother podcast episode, just talking about like how you tried to scale the business a bit, and the growth. And sometimes growing is painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
you gonna preach. Then you started a new job by accident.
Yeah, we never really got into. Yeah, definitely an accident, but it worked out. To me, I think that was a blessing in disguise for us. It really worked.
Definitely. I love where we are right now, even though we went through just a bunch of transitions. This year, and it wasn't until like we sat. And I had to go through like my phone calendar
to look at what was going on.
Yeah, because I was like, man, we're in October. What did we do this year? A lot. Then my little cousin passed away like unexpectedly.
Right after your grandma.
Yeah. So it was a lot. And then I started a job.
Yep.
But it's like, it's weird. Because if it's a job, but then sometimes it doesn't feel like a job. Like, you'll come home and you're just like, oh, you're watching.
Hey, man.
BET Her.
My comfort is they pay you like it's a real job.
It's a real job. It is a real job.
Yeah.
And I've had this conversation with a friend too, or a couple, and I'm like, is it just the higher up you go on this corporate position? Ladder, corporate ladder, like, you just do less, but they pay you more? Like, is that the perk?
I told, and I had this conversation with Nick all the time. I was like, when it comes to working in the United States, you have 2 things. You either leverage your time or your talent. And I think the less skilled you are, you have more, your benefit, your like biggest moneymaker at that point is your time. So you just work harder, you do more.
Yeah.
And then the higher up you go, they pay you more for your expertise, for your like, your presence in the company, and I guess the value that you bring that way. And yeah, I do think it gets to a certain point where like you work less to make more money. And of course that's the sweet spot to be in, when you have to work less and you make more.
Yeah.
But it's a grind to get there.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I only go in once a week into the office, but you know, I have emails and things on my phone, so I'm just aware of when they need me for something. But, you know, if you do your job right, they don't really need you.
As much. Yeah.
So I'm able to focus on other things. And so we're in a nice place right now.
And to get there, we did have to sacrifice a little bit of the podcast energy and put it into other places.
Yeah.
But I feel like now we're more in a groove. We're used to our new schedules, our new responsibilities a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
But we didn't even say that we renovated some of our house as well.
Yeah.
We bought another property.
Yeah, we did.
And did some renovations to that as well.
Yeah.
And found a tenant to go into, like, it was
evicted a tenant
already. I promise we're not like slummy landlords, but it's just it happened.
We didn't just neglect the podcast. A lot went on.
Yeah. And then, you know, diving into a new church situation, and building relationships there.
Oh man, yeah.
So
we joined a new church. Like we're officially members of a new church.
We're doing a lot. So
2022 then
I think it's one of those like you just block it from your memory and you just try to keep swimming. And
it wasn't until like we started writing it down and I looked like, oh yeah, we did do that. Oh yeah, we're still dealing with a lot of it. I think we're just in a better place now. Yeah. We're still going through a lot. We're dealing with a lot of it.
A new groove.
Yeah. So it's just a whole new rhythm that we're in right now. Yeah. But I agree with you. I do like it. And I also think one of the big things that happened was that you started to go to therapy. Yes. And this is definitely like your gig. You're going to have to lead this conversation today. I'm gonna interject. I'm gonna have my questions because I definitely have questions about how your therapy's been going.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we don't really talk about it much. Nah. I'll bring some things up. Yeah. But yeah, I think with all of that's happened, I needed something. Mm-hmm. And I needed something that was like concrete, like on this day, at this time, every week. I need this. Yeah. And I feel like all that happened was just like the final straw to make me, because we've done therapy together, but we've never done it separately. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is different. So yeah, I found the perfect yank auntie therapist that I could ever ask for. Yeah. She's great. And what we started off with was something called cognitive behavioral therapy.
Take your time. You got it. Yeah.
Speaking English would be great. CBT. And that's basically like diving into your thinking patterns, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like recognizing what's distorted in the way that you think, and then reevaluating them in like in reality, like in real life. Mm-hmm. Right? And then also like understanding yourself and the motivation behind some of the things that you're doing. So once we got into it, it was a lot of like, oh, how do you say certain things to people? Like, how do you communicate your thoughts and wants or whatever, boundaries to people? And like in every session, I would be like, why didn't I learn this when I was like 10? Like, I just felt dumb, low key, because I was like, how have I been talking to people this whole time? Like, that's funny.
Ask me. No.
Yeah, so there would be times where, and I said this to you, I think you dropped something on the floor. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, can you pick that up since you dropped it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could have just stopped at, can you pick that up?
Yeah.
Question mark.
No, but that's not enough for you.
You know, no, it wasn't at the time. I think I'm doing better.
Yeah. We'll get to that part.
Yeah. And so, you know, just learning different skills like the I statements so that it's not like, you never listen to me and you always drop things. Yeah. It's like, no, I feel annoyed when the house is dirty.
Yeah.
Like it could just be, you know, turn it to where it's you're expressing your emotion instead of just lashing out on somebody. Which I don't think I lashed out on you, but it was just kind of like,
it's just the extraness.
Pipe down. Yeah. Like,
yeah, it's just the extraness in the remarks where it could be like the sentiment behind it is like, okay, you want me to pick up that thing that fell on the floor. Mm-hmm. And then there's the sass with the, since you dropped it. Yeah. Because, and I guess you and your therapist talk about why you feel like you need to add the sass at the end of it. You don't have to talk to me about that. I hope you're just working on it. But for me, like, as someone who's lived with you, of course, and been with you for a long time, I just always kind of chalked it up to like, we just kind of grew up different, and we just talk different in general. I don't know. Like, I always feel like, you know, maybe it's like, oh, she kind of grew up. I always feel like you kind of grew up like you have single child energy.
Mm-hmm.
Not, yeah, it's just the way you, it's just the way you act sometimes. Like, man, she ain't grow up with nobody around her. Like, you don't share well.
I don't.
You're all right. Yeah, but it's just like you're used to getting your way.
Yeah.
And you're a little spoiled in that regard. So I feel like that a lot of times that's why you act the way you do. And that's why nobody want to be around you. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I'm glad that you took that step to like, all right, let me go talk to somebody and kind of work on these things. Because I feel like, one, I support you in it. And I think everybody could benefit from therapy. But it's just taking that actual physical step to go and do it. Was that easy for you think? Was that hard for you, like, to actually decide, like, okay, I'm going to go get help on XYZ?
I think for me, it was mainly, like, is it worth it to spend the money? That was the main thing.
So it was just a financial.
Yeah, and which is weird because it, like, we can spend it, especially since I got insurance now.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
legit.
I'll be honest. We can spend it, but like when I see that bill, I'm like, maybe only one of us need to go to therapy at a time, and we'll deal with me like at a later date.
No, I think it's worth it. I think every dollar is worth it. But yeah, like finding one actually wasn't hard, at least in my experience. I went through BetterHelp.
Okay.
And so there's like a certain, I guess, amount of therapists based on what you select.
Yeah, like your filters. Like
your filters. But then you could also like just get rid of all your filters and see all the options. Yeah.
What were your filters?
I'm
not digging too much.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know I wanted somebody like over 40.
Okay.
I wanted, I didn't want anybody in Broward or Dade.
Okay, so degrees of separation, I guess.
Yeah, I just like, I don't want it to like, oh, we go to church together. Like, just,
that would be weird.
Yeah. What else? I wanted a woman. But that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah. That I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't even know what else to say. But right, yeah, it was a pretty easy process.
Because I got questions. Trust me. I got questions on this whole therapy thing. Because I haven't done it fully yet. Like you said, we've done it together. And that was an interesting experience.
We've done different forms. Like we've done, whereas it wasn't really like therapy. It was more so like this is just like a retreat, and then they give you different skills to communicate. You know, like those couples retreats or like those Christian counseling
like groups,
like
or whatever.
Groups. Yeah, like.
But we did like a legit like with one therapist for a few sessions during COVID. So that's more so what I was talking about, because that to me is more the therapy route where like they dig in more. It's just like, no, this is about you. And that's not like a general conversation. Yeah. This is about Jackie and Jacques. Like, what are you guys dealing with? What are you going through? So knowing like after going through that, I kind of saw the benefit of having a third party to like talk to or whatever and discuss things with. But that was also just in the context of like our relationship or whatever. But like, okay, you've been in therapy for, how long has it been now?
It's been since May. So, what was that, like 5 months? Yeah. 6 months?
Yeah. So like, no, May is like, 5 months. Barely. All right. So like for somebody like me, where do you think I could benefit? Because you know me. Where do you think I could benefit from therapy?
I just feel like there's so many different types of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like we started in May and basically we've been doing CBT the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then like moving on to boundaries, which I think is still part of cognitive behavioral therapy. But once she kind of saw I was getting my footing in that, and then like she would ask me like, has anybody said anything to you about how you're communicating with them or whatever? And I remember you said something to me about a conversation you had with your friend, quote unquote. You don't call him your friend, but I think he's your friend at this point.
Okay.
And you said, yeah, I could tell by the way, like, she's structuring some of her sentences. Like, she's really thinking about certain things. And I was like, yeah, my husband noticed. Or, like, even, like, talking to Judy, like, she'll say stuff. And I'm like, okay. I guess you're noticing it too? Like,
yeah.
So now we're moving on from that to, like, now she wants to know about my family and my this.
We're about to get deep.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Because she did, even during CBT, she would ask different things and like I would bring up different examples based on the worksheets. And it's like real life examples. And she was like, oh, I noticed you don't really talk about your family, but you talk about your husband's family. And I was like, oh, okay.
Clean up your own house. No, go ahead.
But that could also be like, okay, well, why do we spend more time with your family then?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just working through some things.
Oh yeah. I'm not putting you on the couch right now. Yeah,
no, but like certain things have come up that I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's dive deeper. So that's coming up soon. So I don't know what part would benefit you. I think you are really thoughtful when it comes to like what you say and how you say it.
Yeah.
So I don't know that you would need to start with CBT, but of course I'm not a licensed therapist. So
exactly.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
And it's funny because we do know a few. I would love to like have one on here to talk about.
We know a few?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I know one. I feel like you know one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So once again, we know people who do this, but just in general, because I think the stigma, especially in the Black community, when it comes to therapy, it's one of those like, oh, you're crazy. Granted, it's definitely gotten way better.
Yeah.
From where it used to be, as far as like stigma and perception from people, when you say you're going to therapy. But I think, yeah, because for me, the only thing that's probably held me back has maybe been financially. I'm like, and it's not.
Which is wild.
It's not wild. Let's be clear.
I think it's just like seeing where your worth, like where we put our worth, right?
Okay.
Because in the grand scheme, that's not a big dollar amount for our budget.
Okay.
This
is not a budget conversation. So I hear you. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I had to catch myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not.
Wait, you catch yourself? You about to say something rude to me? You want to be sassy?
Sometimes you gotta, hold yourself back. And then that's the thing. Like you're really good at holding back.
Yeah.
I think
too good.
You need to learn how to express yourself more.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of therapy that is, but
because for me, it's like we were just listening to this podcast, and one of the guests on the podcast was saying how when she started to go to therapy, before she went in with like a list of things that she wanted to work on, right? So like I asked you because I'm not gonna pretend like, oh, I have nothing I need to work on. I know some things I need to work on, but sometimes other people who see you and are around you a lot will tell you like, hey, you need to work on this. And kind of having that in your head to bring forth like, hey, it's maybe not something but this is what some people around me have said or whatever that I should probably flesh out or work out in my life. Because that's what I was thinking, I guess, more so when you first started, like, as far as, like, maybe expectations or what did you want to get out of starting therapy?
I wanted to work on boundaries for sure. Because although I felt like I knew my boundaries, there's like levels to it.
Yeah.
That I learned is that my boundaries were what is it called? It was almost like too restrictive. Like,
okay,
I have to look it up, like the actual terms, but there are some boundaries that it's like, okay, you have like a nice range, I guess. Like, you're not too tight with your boundaries, you're not too like whatever. And I think way too.
Did she like give you a test or something to figure out where you were on this like
no, so what she
spectrum,
would do is like she would have worksheets based on whatever it is that we're talking about that week. And then we would go through examples of what that looks like. And then you can kind of see like where you fall, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll figure out what those boundary types are, but mine were very I was very tight, man.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really trust a lot of things and people, and so it was just like, no. Like, this is the boundary. No is the boundary.
So
a healthy boundary is a mixture of, you know, just like sometimes you say yes, sometimes you know.
Yeah, because like when you, as far as, because for me, when it comes to expectations about therapy, a lot of my experience outside of the sessions that we had as a couple, it's just kind of like what you see in movies. Like, you go, you sit on the couch, and but you go out and you like spill your soul to somebody, and I'm not saying like they fix all your problems, but there's it doesn't. I think it's a much slower process than maybe what we see like on TV and stuff like that. But I wonder, like, for you, is it what you kind of expect? Like, are your conversations and stuff meeting like your expectations for what you want to get out of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because she's it doesn't feel like that. Well, one, she's not here. So like I'm not sitting on her couch.
Yeah.
We're just on video. Or sometimes just a voice call. But she is relatable.
Yeah.
Like the conversation that we have is very, it's like I'm talking to just some random, not a random, but like a auntie who knows what she's talking about, you know? Even though I know she's not my auntie. Like, there's a clear boundary that like, you are a professional and this is a working relationship. So it's nice because I feel like I could just be myself, and like, because she doesn't know me from anything.
Do you think you would ever want to like meet with her in person?
Sure.
Because you're one of those people, like, maybe not the meet, but you're a very visual person, and I guess maybe you get your fix through the video call. But like, because
I need to see your facial expression.
Like, you would rather watch a podcast than listen to a podcast, I feel like. And I feel like that defeats the purpose of podcasts. But I
just feel like if they have a YouTube channel, I'm gonna watch it there. Yeah. Because I need to see your facial expression.
Because at that point, not a podcast anymore; it's a TV show.
Sure.
Because and I just find it interesting because it's an audio like medium, but you digest most of your podcast in video format. I feel like at least the ones that are available that way.
Okay, so like the one that we watched today,
I listened to it.
Right, but it don't hit the same when you don't, like, she was crying. and her husband was next to her.
I got it.
Like,
that was wild.
But you didn't even know she was crying. Because he was talking, you know what I mean? So it's just
I understand crying.
Shoot. Like
when the thing goes quiet and you don't hear nothing no more, and you just hear, and I was like, oh, she's crying. She's crying. I get it.
Yeah, but she's like lifting the tissue up to her eyes. It's just different.
Yeah. You like the visual of it. I kind of get it. I have a good imagination. I can kind of assume what's going on.
Yeah.
But back to your therapy. And I guess we can eventually turn this. You can ask me some questions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm like grilling you right now. Because we've never really got into some of this stuff. But I mean, we're here now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. All right. Keep it a buck. It's nobody listening. It's just me and you. What's your therapist be saying about me?
A lot of people are listening.
What's your therapist be saying about me?
To be honest, we don't really.
She thinks I'm a great guy.
We don't really talk about you like that.
She don't think I'm a great guy?
We don't talk about you. Well, I did mention that I didn't
tell about me.
I didn't want to be married at first.
Oh,
like in
I
middle
know
school.
where you was going with that. Okay.
Yeah, like in middle school, I didn't want to be married. I told her that, and then I was like, but then my husband came along in my teens, and she's like, the right man will do that to you.
Talk about it.
So. Yeah, that's about as far as it went.
I think y'all need to dig deeper. Y'all not going deep enough.
My problems are not in this house. So.
She should be singing my praises right now.
Yeah, my problems aren't in this house. So there's really not much to say about you. But yeah, she knows who you are. We talk.
Well, see, because some of the questions, I guess, they're very personal. So it can't, okay, just... I guess yes or no questions. Do you feel like she's, I guess, one, getting to know you better, and two, do you feel like she's making like real breakthroughs, I guess, in the work that you guys are doing?
Yes.
Yes and yes?
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
Because we wouldn't even be moving. Like, if I didn't trust her, I would be stopping therapy now. Mm-hmm. Because at least I got the boundaries and the communication skills and, certain things like that out of the way. So for me to continue on, and now I'm like, I want to talk about my family, or I want to talk about whatever, is like, okay, I trust you for real. Like it took 5 months, but we could talk about some stuff now.
Yeah.
So. Because
I guess one of my, considerations is like, okay, these people, I'm assuming this is volume work. They're dealing with a lot of people. So that's why I asked, like, do you feel like she's getting to know you? Yeah. Or is it like every time you meet, she's like checking her notes, like, okay, what is she talking about? Like, are you just another page in her note where you think she knows, or she's starting to know Jackie? Yes,
because she even referenced something from like our third session the other day. And she was like, yeah, you mentioned da-da-da. I was like, that was like 4 months ago. Girl.
I mean, she doesn't take notes. I'm assuming.
I know, but like, I don't know. It was just weird because it was like, why would you bring that up right now?
Yeah,
but I could see her trying to build the connection, and every time we speak, she's like, "Wow, I'm learning a lot about you."
That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, do you really feel like she's getting to know you? Because I think that's what makes the therapy effective. Mm-hmm. Is, I guess, seeing you as more than just like her 2:00 appointment. Yeah. It's getting to know you and learning what like really you need to work on, besides you just force feeding her your problems. Like, maybe she can start recognizing stuff that you just said something. She's like, let's go into that. Like, you have an issue with this, versus you just telling her what's wrong. She's like, okay, let's deal with what you're telling me. Is she like finding issues maybe that you didn't even bring to her? She just kind of like hears stuff in you.
I think she hears stuff. And then, like, of course, there's the worksheets that she's putting 2 and 2 together, I think, to make some sort of assessment.
Yeah.
Because to move forward, she sent me a worksheet and she was like, okay, well, I would like to know where you'd like to take our sessions now. Mm-hmm. And it was a goals worksheet, and it took me a couple days to finish it because it was like, wow, this is a lot. So it was like your family goals, personal goals, relationship goals, friendship, spiritual, body, all that stuff. And I was like, okay. And so based on that, she was like, okay, I reviewed your goal sheet. Where do you want to start?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Before I even give my opinion. And I was like, family. And she was like, I think that's a good place.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's like, it's low-key shade because clearly that we need to talk about some things.
Yeah.
But then also like, okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
Okay.
Besides the financial, like, do you think therapy would be beneficial for you?
Yeah, I think 100% therapy would be beneficial to me.
Okay.
Because there are some things like just inherently I know that I've never really dealt with that I didn't work through. Some of them just have come up recently, or like I didn't know until like I actually started talking about like, oh, snap. Well, one is this latest Bible study session we've been doing at church.
Oh.
Has caused me to realize like, yo, you never really like dealt with this. And I've talked about some of it at church, of course not in depth because
you don't know them like that.
I know them, but it's like, is this the time and place to flesh this out?
Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be that guy. There's always like that one person at Bible study that's like, oh, you are really sharing.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, there's definitely some stuff I know I need to work on because of that. Like it's brought up certain things. And
are you about to cry?
No, man, calm down.
I'm joking.
And not see that's when I need to work on. But
I'm kidding.
It's because it wouldn't be bad per se to want to cry.
Oh, that's true.
But it's forced me to like look into certain things that I'm going through or have gone through, and maybe consider like, oh, do I act a certain way because of that? And it's so funny because there's somebody that I talked to about some of this stuff just very vaguely, and I feel like I kind of judged them when they would talk about it. And then the more I talk, like, oh snap, I got my own
like you.
Yeah, I got my own issues here. And they go to therapy.
That's what's interesting about it too. And of course, like life experiences kind of make you realize that we're all out here just going through the same stuff, even if it's not on the same level. We're all feeling a lot of the same emotions about different things, and then you're just like, oh wow, like everybody needs this, or like everybody should be at least thinking about this or having conversation, journaling, something about this life experience, because we're all dealing with the same stuff. Just that empathy.
So I definitely think I could use it. I think I could definitely use it to improve like how I did with you. What's so funny about that?
I don't know. Just how do you deal with me? I don't even know what that means.
I mean, so it's not. I think it could always get better. I guess good could always be great. Like I feel like you said, there are some things I know about myself. Like you say, I'm good at holding. I don't react right away, but you've also said that you don't react soon enough or at all sometimes, or I don't give you the feedback that you need. And that's something maybe, I might have to work on. And maybe I don't have to workshop it all with you in real time. Maybe I could talk to somebody and they could help me like there's certain, like them skills or whatever that you need to like, okay, when this happened, you should do this. Or rather than not say anything to her at all, you should say this in the meantime or something like that.
Or like, no, everything's fine. And then I ask you again. I was like, this is what actually happened. Yeah, so
maybe I could get better at stuff there. Just in general.
Yeah.
And whatever. Like I definitely have a list. I don't want to say a list, but like it's things that I know I could improve on. One of the like phrases or slogans I've seen that I resonate with to a degree is like, you ever seen them shirts that say like I pray and I go to therapy too. Because I think as growing up in like whatever Christian household or just the church in general, therapy was never like put out there like that, as far as like, oh, you could just pray everything away or, you know, just talk to God about it. And I think there is a benefit to talking to somebody about it. Yeah. Like, yes, absolutely. I should bring it to God, but there's some professionals that could probably help you in the meantime. And God put them there to do that too. So, I see benefit to that. Yeah.
I actually wish that like, and maybe every church does, like have a therapist in the congregation that could, you know, at least donate some of their time in that way, like to serve the church. Because when I hear about like premarital counseling, I'm like,
a lot of it is garbage.
What you do? Like, what's the point of this? Yeah. Because we could have just watched YouTube.
1,000%. Like, a lot of it is garbage.
And I'm like, if you actually had a real counselor in your midst, they could just, you know, okay, we're going to do 3 sessions this month. I'm donating my time, you know, I'm serving the church in this way. And then you're actually talking to a professional. And you could still have the pastor in the room or whoever it is, you know, for that biblical backing. But
yeah, I think one of the things, especially when it came to like premarital counseling, for it to be like really effective, you have to value it. And the thing is, a lot of time with young couples or people, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's valuable. You don't really know what you need
you don't
to
have
ask.
Questions. Yeah.
So you don't have the questions or the verbiage to like really get off what is useful in what's about to come, because you don't know. You have no idea. You just going through the motions. And I think and these are things like you just don't know. If you knew how beneficial this would be, you may be more honest in your premarital counseling, because it only works if you're honest. Yeah. And you open. Honest, open, and transparent. Keep it hot.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't. You have to see the value in it to use it correctly, because it's a good tool if you like really are all in.
Great even.
And you're only going to be all in if you see the benefit. And I don't know if we know the benefit. Most people don't know the benefit of it at that time, because at that time you don't have any real problems yet. Yeah. And unless somebody's really digging in, you're not going to expose a lot of those issues. Yeah. So a lot of premarital counseling is very like surface level, I feel like. So it doesn't force you to be too honest. And
do you have 5 minutes for our Lord and Savior Jesus?
Yeah, it can be real insincere. And it I feel like there's good intentions in like saying, okay, you have to go through premarital counseling to get married here or whatever.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's nice, but like, are we really digging into these people, into like how much thought have you put into this whole thing that you're about to enter into? And granted, I'm not no, you know, full-time therapist, and I feel like a lot of time,
careful.
I think that is a real profession. Yes. Right? And I think it needs to be treated as such. So when we talk about giving somebody premarital counseling, we need premarital counselors.
Correct.
Like,
but not only just that, like there are so many different problems in the church. Like everybody comes with their own problems. So not just, I'm not saying, oh, we only need therapists for the premarital counselors.
I was just using that as an example.
It's people with addictions out here. It's people with like who are suicidal. Like let's get some other help as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
and some things can be outsourced.
One of my wishes, but I ain't got no degree in that. So somebody else gonna have to come in and that's not my mission. But so you want to move on?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if you want to put a bow on it. One of my questions for you, and this is just in general for when it comes to therapy, do you think, or how do you think you would know I don't need to keep going, or is it something that like just doesn't stop?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Yeah, because I'm not there. Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about that though. I think once I like make some major breakthrough, whatever that looks like, in the goals that I've laid out, then I could take a pause.
Yeah.
Or maybe not like every week, maybe like once a month.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I asked because like our last little, I wouldn't even call it like our rendezvous with counseling. Like we did like 2 or 3 sessions and then it was like, okay, I think for us at that point, we just needed to like dump.
Yes.
And I think
she was like, okay, guys.
Yeah. It was just like we dumped.
Book me whenever you need me.
We got it out because we had never really spoken about a lot of what we were going through.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like let it all out. And I think that by itself was just cleansing. Like it helped us move forward. And I think of course at some point we'll go back to counseling, but and I think we didn't know that's all we needed. Yeah. Maybe I don't know if you feel the same way. But as once we started, we kind of felt like, wow, okay, got that out. We could breathe a little bit now.
Yeah. I think it's also not that we didn't talk about those things to each other, but it was just like some of the things that you would say during sessions. I was like, he never said that. Yeah. Like, so you was just going to hold this part the whole time?
Yes.
So yeah. Yeah, I think there's a beauty to like having somebody there, a neutral party involved in your thoughts to kind of like talk you down sometimes, or to just give you the tools to like, okay, this is how you're thinking about it. What if you reframed it to this? Yeah. Like, have you ever thought about that? Yeah. Like, maybe it's not this. So yeah.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I think that's good. I would love to eventually at some point bring a therapist on, maybe just to talk about
like the process.
Yeah, like how they go about their process or whatever. But another show for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate that, and we'll talk off air about therapy for me at some point.
Okay.
Because I definitely
there's no rush. It's just
trust me, I'm not in a rush.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
I'm not in a rush to spill my soul at this point. But yeah.
Yes. All right. So
transition us.
What matters to you lately?
To me, what matters to me, and lately is
relative now. It's been like 2 months.
Yeah. All right. So for me right now, if I'm gonna keep it a bean, is I am like really in a clothes and shoes vibe right now. I cannot explain because I've never really been that guy.
A fashion guy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say fashion guy.
Fashions?
But I'm like way more conscious of that. Like, I feel like you went through this a little bit when you were turning 30. You were like, I'm going to dress like a 30-year-old.
So I have to explain what that means. Because like, it's not 30-year-old Claire Huxtable type stuff. It's just dressing to like... I don't know that I actually took pride in shopping because I actually, even right now, still hate shopping for food, for clothes, whatever. But once I turned 30, I was like, I think I just want to liven up my wardrobe, or like actually take pride in what I'm buying and buying pieces that are going to last. So that's why when I'm seeing you on your little whatever you on right now, I'm like, that's nice, but like, think about, in 6 months, like, what do you want to wear from there? Like, let's curate. Like, I'm all about curating my looks these days. So it's like, okay, that's nice, but like, can you pair it with this? And can you like, cause you're more like building outfits. I'm like, I'm trying to build a closet. Like, this top could also go with this skirt and this cardigan and this pant, and
I feel like I'm rebuilding
it's a process,
whole thing.
Though.
Yeah, right now. Because we've gotten rid of a lot of clothes for me. And so it's like starting over. We're like, okay, I need these basics. I need this color jeans. I need this color jeans, this color jeans. And then it's like, all right, I need this amount of tops. And then it's like, I also got to get, this, so many shoes. Because shoes is kind of like my thing.
Yeah.
Clothes is like, I just need something to go with the shoes.
Right.
But shoes has always been kind of my thing.
Right.
But also being like conscious. But that's like where I've been at. Like, I caught myself on a rabbit hole on like men's fashion TikTok. I'm like, yo, what am I doing right now?
Okay.
So like, different stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been on like in Jock's world, like lately. Just trying to work on that, like dressing like an adult, kind of, less graphic tees, more like tops or whatever. Less basketball shorts, more, tapered jeans and all that.
Sweaters.
Yeah, something light.
It's a little brisk outside.
So that's kind of what I've been on. And then like in a minor section of what I care about, because I know we're still working on the section. All right, so something that matters to me, and I don't know how it's gonna manifest, is just like marriage. It has been like,
wait, what?
The sanctity of marriage, just in general. I don't know, because we've been listening to this podcast lately, and adding that with
all these divorces.
Just all these divorces and like cheating scandals and just threats of divorce. Like, it's everywhere right now. I don't know why. It just feels super heavy.
Where do you see threats of divorce at?
Like the Tom Brady stuff, right? Where it's like they haven't necessarily filed for divorce.
They're getting a divorce.
We don't know that.
That's what they've been saying.
I'm just saying. It's just a lot of it. And it's like, that's one of those, like, it's not even a cheating thing. It's just well, we don't know.
It's just, you just keep wanting to work, huh?
But
you just,
I feel like, we could
can't retire.
We could dig into that. It's like, just the different things that we value and how we value our time with our spouses, all that stuff. It matters. And it's like, man, marriage is hard. It is really hard. And especially seeing like older marriages, like.
But I want to stop you right there.
Okay.
Because marriage is hard, but I don't want it to sound like, oh, you just gotta endure the suffering and the.
Nah, that's not what I was getting at.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
What I'm getting at is
just, like it just, that phrase sometimes is like taken out of context, and once you're in a marriage, you get it.
Yeah.
But it's other people that are be like, man.
What I mean when I say the whole in the context of what I'm talking about, that marriage is hard. It is hard, but I think it gets harder when there isn't regular maintenance. It's just like anything that we have for like it's not like one of those, marriage is not a set it and forget it type of relationship.
The oil change.
Yeah, you gotta constantly keep working at it. And that part is not easy because there's a level of like comfortability you get when you're with somebody for a long time, where you don't feel like, they understand me. They would get, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you start, because a lot of times when you're married, you have, depending on when you got married, your situations change over time. Yeah. And like, your marriage has to either adapt with it or you have to adapt. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And this is a whole nother topic. But I'm just saying, like, it's been on my heart a lot lately. Like, man, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And especially considering, like, we've been married 8 years now. Mm-hmm. Not that, you can't get too comfortable. You can't rest on your laurels. Yeah. And it just makes me more aware of my marriage. And it's like, oh, am I feeding into this the right way? Yada, yada, yada. But, that's what matters to me these days. Whoa.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't like that little laugh. I was like,
No, I just remembered
what came up.
No, I just remembered what the guy said on the podcast. She was like, oh my gosh, did he bring home flowers?
Oh, that was bad. He's like, when have I ever brought you flowers? But we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that right now.
That's terrible. But it was funny. a little bit. So what matters to me
yes
is my electric toothbrush.
Okay, I'm with you.
So I did a thing. I went to Target and I bought us both electric toothbrushes. And I told you, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to invest in this. It was like maybe $40.
Yeah, that's not much of an investment.
Yeah, it's not. But for a toothbrush, and if you know me, I buy the up and ups. Like I buy the cheapest toothbrush.
Yeah. Because you abuse your toothbrushes.
I do. And so with this, I feel like it's kind of bulletproof. Like I can't abuse it.
The way you used to.
Right. Because it's like, okay, it has the 2-minute timer.
Yeah.
It tells me when to stop. It tells, you know, I can do like, I don't know. There's just like a lot that I could do with this toothbrush. Yes. And I remember like back in the day, I would be on the phone brushing my teeth for like hours. Like as I'm talking on the phone, I would just keep brushing my teeth, and my best friend would be like, your teeth are gonna be like clear.
Yeah.
At some point.
Brushing all that enamel off.
You have to stop. And then like I would start, you know, chewing on the toothbrush.
Yeah, you had a
bristles
problem.
Would go everywhere.
Yeah, you had a problem.
It's a problem. So this is great. I went to my dentist, you know, for my regular cleaning, and what do you call those people?
The dental assistant.
I guess she's an assistant. The one that actually does the cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, have you ever tried an electric toothbrush? Like, I use it at home and it's great, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't know if she just saw like a problem area or something.
I don't know, yeah.
I don't know what made her say that.
My dentist time, no complaints.
But I was like, I feel like you're coming for me. So I'm going to just go ahead and take your advice. And it's been great. Yeah. Like, I love it. Yeah, and it helps me. It helps me to like kind of focus on that. Because typically I'm like, okay, let me brush my teeth and do this and I don't know, whatever. Yes. And it's like,
because you be walking around the house with
right, but then you're not.
Why are you not in the bathroom?
Right, and you're not really focusing on the task at hand.
Yeah,
like which is your teeth.
It becomes a mindless
tongue,
task.
Your gums.
Yeah.
So this is like, okay, it's still vibrating, so I gotta keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And then once it stops, then I'm like, okay, cool. Okay. It's great. It's great.
I'm happy for you. Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah. And I like it too. I'm not going to front. I like it too.
Yeah. So you can tell us what matters to you these days if you're a listener as well. I only had one thing. Jocks went on a tangent.
I didn't mean to. It just kind of happened that way. Because I feel like it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
So I had to get it off my chest.
Yeah. It's fine. And since this is kind of like a self-care-ish episode, our business spotlight is Melanated Beauty Spa. And it's a Haitian-owned beauty spa in Hallandale. And she does facials. I've gotten a massage there before. Mm-hmm. She does the body sculpting.
Yeah. I know she does like the wood massages.
Yes. Too, right? So I haven't tried that. Mm-hmm. I've only had the facials. I had a face facial and a back facial and a massage.
Which doesn't make sense. But okay. A back facial?
I mean, what else are you going to call it, right?
I don't know. A backshul? Something else. A backshul. Facial, I'm assuming is face, but okay.
Yeah. And I love it. So I have been on this. Well, I guess I could talk about it. I've had eczema like my whole life. And so what you do, or what I've done, is just use cortisone cream and like,
which is like a topical steroid.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to use that no more. So I have been taking care of my skin.
Is that bad for you? Because I know I know that's a thing with people getting off of cortisone. Like, is it bad for you to keep going on it?
It's just an endless cycle. Yeah. Because you feel like it's helping you, but it's really not.
Okay. So it just covers up what's going on, or like why is it not bad for you? Why is it?
Because sometimes it'll work, and then sometimes I'm like my skin is so used to it that it's not working anymore.
Okay. You've developed a tolerance for the cortisone. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I've been using it since high school.
Okay.
So it's been maybe like 6 months now.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And just getting a handle on my skin naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And there are still sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like I don't like that, or I don't like this area, but I'm working through it and it's working out. And with the help of the Melanated Beauty Spa, which I go to twice a month, thankfully, it's been really well. Like, it's been going really well. And she like will tell me, oh, you should try tea tree oil, or you should do this, or whatever. Or so yeah, I like it. I love it there. She's also opening up a location in Atlanta.
Okay.
So the girls are about their business. And y'all should go. Tell her Jackie told you about it. And
it's like a subscription service that you use.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
I do. I'm a member. So I get to choose like bi-weekly services or something like that. I think one time I booked 2 things in the same week.
Okay.
But you basically get the credit to use
for 2 services a month.
2 services a month, and you can transfer it to somebody else. So if you want a facial, which you told me you don't,
I don't.
I could give it to you.
I don't care for stuff like that. Massage, I don't care for stuff like that.
Yeah, it's fine. You have nice skin, so yeah, it's great. And then she even, I don't know, she's doing some good stuff like business wise. So it's been pretty cool talking to her about it. And she's Haitian, and so there's commonality there.
Yeah, that's good. So you deal with like the owner on like a 1-to-1. Yeah. So this is not a Massage Envy ad, or this is a like they're in the thick of it.
Oh yeah.
The people who run it. So it's more of family-owned small business type deal where you can actually build a relationship with the people there and all that.
Absolutely.
And you're, you get treated like a real customer versus like just a number at like one of those bigger spas.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. And there's snacks and wine and
you're talking about the snacks.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I love snacks. So yeah, that's the end of that. Definitely go check out her business. I don't really frequent Hallandale much. Not my favorite city, but I love this spa. And I love what she's doing and trying to do for melanated skin. Okay. So yeah, go check her out.
Check that out.
Yep. And then of course, subscribe and rate us on Apple Podcasts, send us comments, and support the podcast through our website.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Another episode in the books.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. That you might work. That you might work.